Hi everybody, welcome back to the next episode of the Easton Technical Bulletin series. My name is Jeff Taylor. To my left I have George Tekimichov. Today we're going to talk about weight codes, why we have the weight codes, and what that number on the end of that arrow sleeve means. You also see that lasered on the arrow. George, what can you tell us here? Give us a definition of what that weight code is.
Maybe a little history first. Weight codes are something that Easton has been putting on its premium AC arrows since approximately 1987.
Arrows like the X10, the X10 Parallel Pro, and the ACE all receive a weight code.
Now, what is a weight code? Weight codes are a way to deal with the fact that not all carbon has the exact same stiffness. Because spine and spine consistency from arrow to arrow in a given dozen, and these are perfect, each arrow in this has the exact same spine. Because that's so important and critical to good grouping and good tuning, we have to make a compromise, and that is that we have to allow the arrow, once it's been spine tuned, to be brought into a specific weight category.
Weight coding allows us to take all of the arrows, make them the exact same weight and the exact same spine. If you take an Easton arrow and you put it on a spine tester, you will get the exact number that you're paying for.
The weight code is printed on each Easton shaft using a laser, and it's also on the end of the tube. For example, in this set of Parallel Pros, you'll find it written right there on the end of the tube. Now, here's the thing you got to remember. Weight codes are actually a very small spread from one to another. In fact, within a given tube of arrows, Easton keeps these to half a grain tolerance. And then from one weight code to another, the total spread is a grain and a half. By the time you cut the arrows, and by the time you assemble them with fletching and nocks and points and the glue that's used to put those things together, the difference between one weight code to another, say a C1 to a C2, will disappear. And therefore, you can actually mix a C1 and a C2 and still have under 1 grain tolerance by the time you build out those arrows. And that's something that a lot of folks don't realize. You know, especially in certain geographic regions, what we've found, people get really married to their weight code. They want a C1 or they want a C3. The bottom line is the difference between a C1 and a C3 by the time you build the arrow is insignificant.
Sure.
However, we had to keep these arrows to the same kind of tolerance that aluminum arrows have because it's got the Easton name on it. So weight codes are one way that Easton goes far beyond the industry standard to maintain both the shaft straightness, the spine value, and in this case, weight matching from shaft to shaft.
Yeah, so taking the mental aspect out of it, you know, just from a technology standpoint and a quality standpoint.
And a practical one.
Practical one, you're not going to see the difference there.
Right. As a practical matter, you will not see the difference.
Right.
I once saw Jay Barnes shoot a Continental World Record with unknowingly having a 10 grain difference in his points. So weight is one of the less critical variables. But what are we giving you when we give you weight codes? We're giving you the confidence that every single arrow in that package is the exact same weight, and that if you choose to buy more arrows of that model and that spine value, you can, within reason, get very, very close to the exact same weight as the set you've been using. But there's another thing to consider. Any carbon arrow that is shot in an organic material, especially people shooting into Stramit or Edgerton targets, there's going to be a certain amount of wear on the exterior of that arrow. And over the course of a season, you could lose a grain of weight or more, depending on how hard and dirty and abrasive those target materials are.
Tell you what, when we were overseas over in Europe and traveling around, we saw how Stramit targets are actually made. It was really interesting, but that coarse material that they're using in there over time.
You're sanding a little bit of the arrow off every time you shoot it.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to cause some wear there.
It's one reason we really like foam targets. But the reality is that by the time you finish a season, you may remove as much as 2 weight codes worth of differential from a set of arrows.
That's interesting, yeah.
And yet the arrows still go in the middle.
Sure, yeah.
So
good point to bring up, yeah, for sure.
So weight codes exist for a variety of reasons. One, we want our customers to be very confident that every single arrow that they're purchasing has the exact same mass weight as its neighbor in that tube. That every arrow that we sell that has our name on it meets all of the standards that Doug Easton set back in the 1940s when he originally created aluminum arrows. It's part of the expectation and promise that you get from Team Easton. If you want to know all of the details about weight codes and why weight codes are something that is unique to Easton shafts, we have a complete article about that on eastonarchery.com. Just plug in weight code in the search bar and you'll find the article popping up as one of the very first things. So that's eastonarchery.com. Just plug in weight code to the search engine on the Easton Archery website, and you'll see an article that's been in there for a few years now that explains things in exquisite detail.
Thank you for joining us today. For more information on the entire Easton line, visit us at eastonarchery.com.